All right, we're coming on early, a little bit early. The countdown, let me turn that countdown off. And once again, I think this is episode 9 with the Aussies, with you guys. That's not too bad, huh? So is it, right now it's getting to be autumn, so I guess you're just coming out of spring into the summer?
Other way around. Well, yeah, we're heading into spring-ish. Though I don't know about
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of you, but it certainly doesn't feel like that in Melbourne.
Yeah. Hey, I'm further south. It just doesn't
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like here either. Like Ian should probably have at least decent weather.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we've,
Look,
we've,
here in Brisbane, it's definitely heading into shorts territory pretty soon now.
oh, yeah, yeah, okay. Because we had a very hot 1 or 2 weeks. It was in 95 to 100 Fahrenheit, which is hot. And then now it's been kind of cool. Like today's like 50. I went up for my walk this morning and it was like 54 degrees Fahrenheit. So, we've had like a cool end of August going into our fall and winter. So let's start at the top over here. Philip Hodgetts, who's back in Australia now, and right below Philip in this configuration is Ian Anderson, and right below him is, I got to twist my hand, is Lee Herbert. Lee Herbert. Now, Lee, I found out something about you, which I should have known all along. I think it was 2 summits ago. Somebody told me you were a comedian at one point for a living. Is that
yeah.
true?
But I'm not funny anymore.
No, no, you certainly are. No, but I should have known something, like at least part-time stand-up, because of your sense of humor, which I appreciate.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I did. So yeah, out of high school, I was in musical theatre. So I did a lot of singing and dancing. Um, but I say that was about 20 kilos ago. But then from musical theatre, I then moved into doing stand up. Although I was the funny guy in my high school. So like all the plays and things that I was in, I was always the like I was the porter in the Scottish play because
Okay.
it was comedic relief. That was me.
Okay.
And yeah, and then I moved into stand up. I can go through that whole thing, but
No,
let's leave that for later.
I was kind of, I wasn't really surprised, but I was surprised of the news when somebody told me. I forget who it was. One of the other guys, one of the other Australians probably said, Lee used to do stand up, or he still does stand up, one or the other. So
Yeah.
now,
Yeah,
Philip, you've had quite. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Philip,
No,
you've
I
had an
stopped.
adventure. Go ahead, Lee.
Go for
Sorry.
it. No, go for it.
I was going to say, Philip's had quite an adventure for the last 6 months, moving back from the U.S. back to Australia.
Yep, and then spending 75 days on the road doing a video every day. That was a change for me. Seeing a lot of Australia that I've never seen and probably most people never see.
So
In fact, in
my,
fact, in
go
fact,
ahead.
today is the first day that we're properly in our house down here, with furniture in place, and like today's the day we've actually probably moved in. Uh, so it's been a long time. It's been actually 6 months between having a home to live in. Uh,
Wow.
Richard, we're not hearing you. Well, I'm not
Well, I'm
anyway.
sorry. What had a mute on? Because I was opening the bottle cap up. What What is your house like in Australia versus your house in LA? I knew you guys worked on that house all the time, the one in LA, or was it LA or outside of LA?
This is outside of LA. It's just literally just a mile outside of LA county. It's still in the county outside the city. Um, this one is a little bit bigger. It's in a much smaller town, but it's in a city, a town of Australian style houses. It's a very American style house because it's big open spaces. Now, most houses in this town are fairly, every space can be closed off because it's easy to keep them warm that way. Whereas we've got some rather big spaces. The room behind me is actually the biggest bedroom, which I have commandeered as my office space. And Upstairs is really just a big open dining lounge room. Every living space looks out on the ocean, looks out towards the town and the ocean, with huge glasses, with glass area. We've got massive amount of glass everywhere. It's a great house to live in. We're just starting to find our way, but we're both finding we like it.
So
And it has a yard that needs a lot of attention,
there
just
you
like the other
go.
one.
There you go. So the glass it's a glass facing the sunrise.
It does, yes, yeah. You may have
Okay,
seen on Facebook some of the fun sunrises we've experienced already.
right. And then Ian, you're still in the same old house, right?
Yeah, look, same old house, but we have had a deck. So we've had a deck added to the front of the house. We've had a roof replaced. We're getting painting done next. So, the joys of renovation are slim. I don't recommend renovation. It's
3 weeks
it's
of
kind of an
painting and then three
unpleasant
days of
experience.
carpeting.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
built a house in '86. I built
Oh
the house
wow.
next door to mine. I bought a kit from a company called Heckinger for the basic stuff, and I hired subcontractors, and I actually was the general contractor for it. So I'm well versed on building a house, and of course I've updated ours, the house we're in now, multiple times. We redid the kitchen about 5-6 years ago, completely gutted it and redid it. I did all the cabinetry. I didn't make the cabinetry, I installed the cabinetry. I'm not a cabinet maker, but I am a cabinet installer. So,
We're
so
very fortunate. This has a lot of. It's a mid-century modern house in design, and it has still a lot of. Most of the features are still intact. People haven't screwed them up over the last 60 years, so
yeah.
that's a nice.
And do you have neighbors that you know, or do you meet all new neighbors now?
No neighbours that we know, but I grew up in this town until I was 10, so I still have an aunt just like 5 minutes away that way, another aunt that's
Okay.
15 minutes away, other aunts and uncles and cousins and around up and down the coast, the northwest coast. I haven't
So,
caught up
so
with
I,
most of them yet.
I follow all you guys different places. Lee, what the heck are you doing? You were doing something about cars for a while, for like Teslas, and then I'm not sure what. Then now I see you posting pictures of flowers, close up of flowers. So what's going on with you?
Something's wrong with your eyes. It's still the same stuff. No. So a whole bunch of things. So the electric car stuff was the YouTube channel, called Not a Car Guy, and I'm still doing the YouTube channel. I'm still putting out one YouTube video a week, but for a bunch of different reasons, I'll regale you with the story. I decided to move away from doing a lot of car stuff. Number one, I started finding it a bit boring because I called the channel Not a Car Guy because I'm literally not a car guy. And I had a period last year in June where I was reviewing 5 cars in 4 weeks. And I got to a point where I was like, they're all the same. They've got wheels, they've got seats, they've got there's pedals. And I was just
Right, right,
describing the same stuff. And I was just like, this doesn't interest me. And and also it was a lot of work. Like each car shoot, the place where I need to pick them up, the media loan cars is like an hour away, so it takes me 2 hours to
wow,
get there and get back. And the wife's got to come with me because obviously I've got to get there, and then my car's
right, right.
actually got to get back somehow. So that's 4 hours out of our time just to get the cars and drop them back off, and then I do 2 or 3 days of shooting, and then a couple of days of editing. So it's like a week's worth of work, and I wasn't getting the kind of it just wasn't worth my
Right,
time. So
right.
I switched the channel to just doing a lot of tech stuff. And luckily, I've got a friend who runs a tech magazine. So they get approached by a lot of PR companies going, oh, do you want to review this phone? Do you want to review this robot vacuum cleaner? Do you want to review these lights, this hard drive, that kind of stuff? And so just every now and again, I did an electric skateboard a couple of months ago, which was very inappropriate for someone like me, but I yucked it up because me on a skateboard is like those was it hippos in Fantasia? doing ballet. That's me on a skateboard, basically. That's about as much sense as that makes. And then in terms of the flowers, so the flowers on Instagram and Threads and things like that is, I don't particularly like social media, but I have to have a presence,
Right.
and
Right.
so in order to still have a presence on social media, I was raised with, if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything. And so all I'm doing now on social media is I will post, I go for a walk every morning, and if I see an interesting flower or a bug or something, I get my iPhone as close as I can and I get a couple of shots and I post that.
Now, Ian, what do you think about the rumors of the new iPhone 17? I don't believe all of them. They're saying 8K and then an 8 times optical zoom lens. The optical zoom lens are possibly because they can do that whatever they do with the mirrors and everything, and it's supposed to be a little thicker. But 8K on a sensor that small, that seems really strange. You have 8K in that, Lee?
Well, look, it's
Yeah.
Huh,
So
okay.
this, sorry, just one sec. This is Samsung S25 that I got for review. This shoots 8K. It's a little soft. I'm being diplomatic, but it's for a sensor that size, not bad.
Okay.
yeah. I think it's definitely doable to get that kind of resolution in something that small. They're certainly ramping up the resolution quite a bit. Look, I review stuff as well for Pro Video Coalition. I reviewed a gimbal recently, and coming up soon will be a review of the DJI Osmo 360. And that does 8K on one side. It's obviously got a much bigger sensor. It's a 1-inch sensor, but it's looking surprisingly good. It'll shoot log. It's stabilized. The accessories are great. I don't want to spoil the review, but it's really fun.
No, go
And,
ahead. Nobody's listening.
Well, I mean, look, the real reveal will come in a couple of months when I can actually give you some proper things. But I actually have 2 of these, and
Okay.
so I'm shooting stereo Osmo 360s.
Wow.
Now, stereo 360 is not really recommended, but you shoot with these on one side at a time, and it'll shoot 5K in 16:9 at a decent enough data rate, and you can get really interesting results.
Okay.
But at the moment, the only way to actually do that in Final Cut Pro is to use the plugin that I made. And so
Raise the price.
very few people have that plugin, and so I suspect most people will probably do it in Resolve. But
Well, go ahead and plug the plugin.
3D.
Go ahead and plug it. What is it called?
Sure. Well, if you want to do it in Final Cut Pro, the plugin is called Spatial Kit. It's on FX Factory. And I mean, the downside is that it's full manual control, and you have all the controls you need to move one eye separate from the other one. You can move left and right, up and down. You can rotate one separate from the other. You can scale it if you want to. You can do cool things in 3D, but it doesn't do what Resolve does, which is you've got 2 options of auto aligning 3D. But that's it. You don't have the manual controls. So it's like, it's all automatic, which is something I'm not sure I can do with FX Factory stuff.
Right.
But on the other hand, you may not need to do anything at all. So it's tricky. And I expect most people will probably go to Resolve. But I suspect there's things you can't do with that, which you can do with Spatial Kit. But I think the audience for all the 3D stuff at the moment is sadly pretty small. At the moment, as far as I can tell, Vimeo have broken something, so I can't actually upload the spatial 3D stuff I'm making because it's not being recognized as 3D. And the way I can tell you it's broken is I've uploaded exactly the same videos I uploaded 3 months ago, and they worked then, and they don't work now, and it's the same file. So, that's a little problematic. But anyway, even if you're not going to shoot in 3D, the Osmo 360 surprisingly nice, especially if you get one of the fun accessories. Anyway, review coming soon when I can write that thing. It's good.
DJI Mic 3 is supposed to be out today or tomorrow. I forget which. they're going to announce it. They
Yeah.
already pre-announced it. So we'll see. Well, I was a big fan of DJI for 1 and 2, mic 1 and mic 2, but I sold my mic 2 a couple weeks ago, and I got the Hollyland Lark M2, which is phenomenal, but absolutely phenomenal.
Well,
Now,
can,
Leo,
can you get the DJI Mic 3? Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Can you
it's-
get that in the States?
No, it's just going to be announced today or tomorrow. They pre-announced a video, so it's not quite here yet. One of the things is it has 4 mics per receiver, which so does Hollyland. That's not that unusual nowadays. The Hollyland has a full 32-bit audio chain, not just records in the transmitter. It actually transmits 32-bit audio to your phone or to your iPad or to your computer. Now, no DSLR accepts 32-bit that I know of. Lee, do you know of any that accept 32-bit audio without an attachment?
No, not. It might exist, but I don't know of it. No.
Well, the Panasonic has a $500 XLR attachment, but I'm not going to spend $500 just to get 32-bit audio when the transmitters themselves record 32-bit audio.
Yeah, look, and I think the other thing is, it's great to have that 32-bit audio as a backup. Like I was doing a shoot for a client just a couple of weeks ago. I don't know about you, but I've found a few squirrels lately in Final Cut, particularly with audio, and I brought the audio in, and there was just one clip that I'd added. Basically, what it is, it was an interview with someone talking to a teleprompter, and I just cut out a few bits here and there, and just the last bit that I'd cut, there was a weird echo, and I think it might be the voice isolation that I was applying, and so that could have been affecting it. But yeah, there was just this tiny little echo when I was exporting the file. Sometimes it was the weirdest thing. Sometimes it was on my timeline, sometimes it was. I couldn't work out what was causing it. But because I'd recorded this with the Rhodes, I had the 32-bit recording on the Rhodes, pulled the recording off of the transmitter, dumped it in there, did a couple of adjustments. Hey presto, I've got audio without reverb, without
Right.
the echo. Problem solved. So I mean, I've yet to find a situation. It's nice to have, and I appreciate having the backup of the 32-bit, but I haven't really found that many instances where I really, really needed the advantages of the 32-bit. I don't know what everyone else's experience are.
I agree with that, but why not record in 32-bit if you have the option? It doesn't take up that much more space than 24-bit.
Because it's going to cost you $500 to add the bit to your camera. That's why.
Oh no, I'm talking about in the transmitters.
Oh yeah, no, in the transmitters, absolutely. It's great that they've all got them, but in terms of having that raw,
Yes.
I think eventually camera manufacturers will, they'll put it in there because it'll just be easy. Once it's easy,
Standard.
yeah, it'll become a standard. But it's not like I'm clamoring to. Oh, I have to have this, otherwise
agree.
I can't do what I need to do.
No, if you're using DSLRs,
Yeah.
absolutely. Go ahead, Ian.
I think this is one of those features which the pros will get, but the amateurs need, because the amateurs are the ones who are going to get uncontrolled audio coming in, which could be high, could be low, and really need to be able to fix that in post really easily. And the pros are going to be the ones who can control the level of audio coming into the mic in the first place. So it's another one of those classic situations where those who need the tech most won't get it. I mean, I've still got a pair of Rode Wireless Go 2s, which are great. They don't have 32-bit float. I've not really needed that. It would be nice every now and again to have had the flexibility to turn the audio
Right.
down and fix it later, but it hasn't been so important, and that's okay. But no, I'm curious, Richard, if the new DJI mic will be for sale in the US, because it seems like DJI have a bit of an export block in place, a phantom export block that they can't fix.
I thought that was for drones. Was that for everything?
I think it's for everything.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Apparently, DJI has been, marked as a company that is suspicious and need to be audited by a US department of some kind, and have been unable to get an appointment. They don't know who to talk to, and their stuff just gets turned around at the border, which is disappointing for this nice camera, for every drone, for their gimbals and maybe for their microphones. I don't know.
But they're for
We can
sale.
get
They're
all
for
that stuff
sale in
here.
Amazon. I can buy that camera
Okay.
in Amazon. Yeah. I don't see it. I thought it was for drones. I thought it was some kind of a drone thing.
Yeah.
So, now, Philip, what kind of
Interesting.
mic
Okay, is that
system do you
camera-
use?
I have
I'm not-
nothing particularly fancy. Fairly straightforward. Little radio, little kit. I just bought it off Amazon. It's only like about $40 because I wanted something quick and easy. I bought a set for the road trip, and they worked brilliantly for the first week. And then twice in as many days I dropped my phone. The only times I dropped the phone on the entire trip, and I dropped it on the radio mic receiver. It survived the first trip
Of
hit, but
course.
it didn't survive the second one. And of course, Amazon in Australia is a lot slower delivery than Amazon in the United States. It's like 7 to 10 days. Um,
Wow.
and yeah, well, if you're in Sydney, Newcastle, there you can get it in maybe 3 to 5. But it's not the same. I'm finding that a little bit of a
yeah.
withdrawal because I was a big Amazon buyer in the States, and
I
there was
yeah.
Yeah.
nowhere that I could organize to have delivered. There was no reliable enough because we're only staying 1 or 2 days in most places. So I ended up just shooting most of the trip with just the microphone and the camera. It was surprisingly good.
I get disappointed if Amazon won't deliver the same day anymore. So it's like, come on, you can't deliver it today? Come on, it's only 12 noon. Give it to me today.
No, no same day.
Yeah,
Next day,
Philip
day
lives,
after maybe.
yeah, Philip now lives on an island off an island.
Yes. Yep.
And also we have a comment for Philip. Is it cold
Yeah.
out there? I think his heat doesn't work in this house yet, right? Not turned on or something?
There's no heat in this room.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I'm in a room that's it's about 42 outside, and it's probably single glazing. It's probably about 57, 58, maybe 60 in here. The wall behind me is actually, and this wall over here are actually all underground, so it's fairly stable from
Oh,
that
okay.
perspective.
Yeah.
So it's actually compared with the
Yeah.
room next door, which I've been using as a temporary office for the last 2 weeks. This is a much warmer room. So
Okay.
this is the
I,
warm me.
I have never heated this room. This is
Mm.
this is Queensland. Like I don't need to heat this room.
Is that
This
because
No.
is
of
a
the
warm
sun?
place.
The sun?
Yeah, the sun and the latitude and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's warm here. It has never snowed
Queens
in Brisbane.
Queensland is like our Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because Florida's like warm year round. It doesn't really have a winter. So
Yeah.
I went to my house. Thank God my girlfriend and I both have the same temperature tolerances because we keep it at 69 degrees Fahrenheit, which is really cold in the summer, all summer long, 69 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
And that's cold for most people. So my sister's coming up from Florida in a couple weeks, and I told her, bring sweaters because we're not going to raise the temperature. But I went to Florida where I stayed. They had the temperature up to, it was funny because they had it up to 78, I think, during the day, which makes me sweat. And then they said, we turn it down at night. They turned it down 2 degrees to 76. I said,
Oh.
next time I'm going to get other arrangements. So it's good when you and your partner both agree on temperatures. Otherwise, it would be, no, it's too cold. No, it's too hot. So everybody here uses Final Cut Pro,
yeah.
right? Everybody edits in Final Cut.
Yep.
Yep.
Did anybody edit in DaVinci Resolve besides me?
Yeah, from time to time.
No.
I've looked at it. I've playing with the stereo stuff, but no,
Oh, we lost Ian. Look at that. He started talking about DaVinci Resolve badly, and Grant Petty just threw him off. Just threw him off. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of things I like about DaVinci Resolve. I love the dual timelines. You can drag from one to the other. It also has dual browsers. You can do the same thing. Open up two separate two separate windows and drag from one window to the other. And a lot of other things as well. It has the text-based editing is phenomenal for built-in. Cover your ears up, Philip. I'm talking about text-based editing, but I'm talking about DaVinci Resolve.
Yes, nobody's even close to where Builder was in 2014. But
2014. Wow, I thought it was 2017.
Yeah.
You moved back 3 years.
So we said, well, no, 14 was when Lumberjack was released. It was 2 years. It was like 16, I think, before when it was 2 years. Might have been 18. Maybe I'm getting my timelines wrong. That's why I need to resolve with two timelines.
Yeah, but there's a lot. There's a lot of things to like about DaVinci Resolve. There's a lot of things. I transported all my keyboard shortcuts from Final Cut over to DaVinci. For the most part, there's some that don't translate. Like, it doesn't. Did it just get a live skimmer? But you got to hold a key down or something to get that second. I don't remember. I haven't used it that much. But it's a nice look. It's a nice product. They update it constantly.
Yeah.
It's like they have a fire hose of updates, and they just keep turning it on every couple of weeks, and then they turn it off, and then they turn it on and turn it off. Compared to, let's be generous and say the slow pace of Final Cut Pro development versus Glacial. I was going to use Glacial, but slow, I think, would be.
But you see, like those constant updates, and at the risk of sounding like the grumpy old man that I am and chasing windmills, I don't have time to learn all these new features. I just want to cut my stuff and export and send it to my client and invoice them. Just too many buttons now. Just let me work.
No, I understand. DaVinci Resolve is a lot more complicated, but so is Logic Pro. Logic Pro is vastly more complicated than Final Cut Pro on the surface. And as a matter of fact, Logic Pro even has a set of preferences. You can turn on or off advanced features, a whole panel, for that exact reason. When you first open it up, it looks like GarageBand with a wooden frame and everything. But you can turn all that stuff off if you want more pro features. So I would like some of that stuff in Final Cut. I mean, it only took 13 and a half years for a scrolling timeline. It's a good thing I'm a patient person.
The Magic Mask is lovely. I mean, I was just told by a client today how much they were wowed that I had to color grade just a screen on a tracking shot, and they were like, "Oh, you did such a great job." I mean, I'm not going to tell them. It took me 5 minutes, and
they're watching right now.
Oh well, great. Checks in the mail. But they, that would have taken me 2 or 3 hours back in the day, having to do it frame by frame. Or I would have I would have taken it in motion and tried it, and then it would have done it. Not sometimes great, sometimes not. But yeah, it's. I contradict myself again that I appreciate that I just complained about too many new features, and this new feature is lovely. But yeah,
no, it is a great feature.
That feature. I mean, I've looked at the comparison in Resolve, and the Resolve version is slower. It is. I don't know that it's more capable or more useful at doing the job, but because it's not as fast, I can't use it in its context that I've used it in Final Cut. So I occasionally film a speaker who's a client, and he wants his entire live presentation filmed. And so it's about 50 minutes. And this particular presentation that he was giving, in this particular venue, the projection screen was on the same level as he was. And sometimes he walked in front of the screen. Now, if you've ever filmed a projection screen, you know they're usually way brighter than everything else. You really, really don't want someone to walk in front of that screen. And if you've filmed the screen, you have to color correct that area separately. Now that's pretty straightforward. That's just a box, and you can correct that, bring it down. And GH6, GH7 have got really great dynamic range in vlogs, so I am able to capture all that dynamic range in the same thing. But I then need to correct the rest of the shot differently. And of course, he walks in front of the screen. So my option is either the part of his body where he's in front of the projection screen is either going to be super, super bright, or I use the magic magnetic mask to just track him for the 50 minutes and then subtract that from the separate, block out I've done
Shutters.
on the screen.
Right.
So I did that, walked away for 15 minutes, came back, 50 minutes has been tracked. Like, it's really, really good. Whereas the result version was more like real time. So it would have taken much, much, much longer. And I would have had to check it. But look, these features are all really good. They're all really useful. And because they're AI based, they're way smarter than the old solutions ever could have been. And so here's one example. So if you look at the picture of me on screen at the moment it's head and shoulders, but my hands might come up. Now, both of these solutions, the magnetic mask and the magic mask, will both track hands if they magically come into shot, because they know human beings have hands probably. They're not just tracking a head and shoulders as it
Right.
moves around left to right. They're doing something a bit smarter at a lower level than that. And that makes them much, much more useful. And yeah, I should probably mention at the moment I'm writing a book on AI for creative production, which will be out early next year, I think. And so I've looked at all of the AI features across all of the different NLEs and about making images and making videos, and I'm getting to the automated editing stuff, but I haven't done those bits of the book yet, so I don't have a strong opinion on that. But I remember sitting next to the guy in charge of Eddy AI at the summit presentation last year, and so I'm definitely going to take a deeper look at that. And my gut feeling on AI is that it's useful for some things, but not for directly making the finished product. If you enjoy doing that, you should be keeping doing that.
Yeah. Any AI has come a long way since that presentation, by the way. At that point, they could only work on one file at a time. Now they can. Actually, they finally caught up with Builder, which can work on multiple files at a time. So it actually looks like a product that I wish I had actually created the current Eddy AI. I think it's a great product.
Well, that's certainly interesting. No, I've really, when they introduced the magnetic mask last Creative Summit last November, I was like, okay, this is pretty neat, but I've used it a lot. And then they improved it with 11.1, right, in March, right before NAB.
Yeah.
They did something that's more machine learning powerful or something. They made it better or faster, whatever. So here's a question for Ian. Any update for your book, PDF for Final Cut Pro 11?
Yes, I have the PDF. I've seen the PDF. It's coming out really soon. I'm really, really sorry it's taken so long. I wish it had been sooner. But yes, the updates are all written. It will be out soon. So free electronic update for anyone who's bought the book, and the updated print copy should be, I hope it's in the next couple of weeks. These things take a lot of time behind the scenes, and there was a lot of processing, and we did have to make some edits, nothing important removed, because we are at Amazon's print limit officially, as we cannot make it any bigger. I think it's 820 something pages, and we literally can't make it any bigger at all. They won't print it if it's any bigger than that.
Does Amazon print on demand?
It is. It's all print on demand. So whatever country you're in, it gets printed locally in your country and then shipped to you. I don't think they print in every single country. I'm not 100% sure, but I know my Australian copies printed in Australia, US printed in the US, and so on. So yeah, it gets printed locally or semi-locally and then shipped to you.
Could you just make the font smaller and then you can fit more in?
Don't make the font smaller,
man.
please. I have enough trouble with reading as it is. I like large fonts.
It's
right
really
before,
difficult. I mean, yeah.
Right before we went on, we had some news. What do you think about the Creative Summit being switched to the spring of 2026? Now,
It's not as convenient for me.
well, the problem is that they canceled the summit for 2025. There's no summit in
Yeah,
2025. They skipped a year. So
yeah,
remember when they
Well,
had the
yeah.
remember when they had listen, remember when they had the world tour and they had 10
yeah.
cities and they said, "Oh, we're going to do 10 cities, 5 in the United States and 5 in Europe." What happened to the Europe cities in the spring? They didn't happen. They were
Same
gone.
same as the baseball World Series in America.
Okay. So
I don't think that's necessarily the same situation though, because that was a planned thing, which then they decided, I guess, not to do.
right.
I don't know. I wasn't part of any of those things. Um, but this one just feels like, maybe Apple don't have anything to show yet. I don't know. But
Well,
that's okay. It's
well,
not quite a year. It's a few months.
no,
But
it's
if
18 months versus 1 year.
oh yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a
No,
year and
it's
a
a few
half.
months past a full 12 months is what I'm saying. But yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, I
no, no,
see.
yeah.
agreed. But that's okay. I don't mind.
I'm
Um,
disappointed. I'm very
I
disappointed. I first off, well, there's a lot of reasons why I am, and I'm doing another live stream 2 o'clock this afternoon to talk about it. It just, people are saying Final Cut Pro is not updated fast enough. The update schedule, I don't think anybody here would say it's updated fast enough. I mean, you may say it's okay, but you wouldn't say it's fast. So like
No.
10, 11.1, well, we had 3 features, and then 11 we had 4 features, 6 months or whatever. And the features are good, but there's still room for things without getting whatever the people say, "Oh, we don't want Final Cut Pro to get bloated." It's not going to get bloated. Come on. Anyway, I was disappointed, very disappointed that they did that. If they knew, here's the thing, if they knew they weren't going to do it in November, they should have announced it months ago. They should have said, "Hey, look, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do this November." Because it's been every November or October since 2016.
But the thing is, I
But
mean, it's
chances
possible
are,
that
when they
it's
said when
possible they
they
didn't
said
know.
that they would, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Sorry,
What
sorry.
was
But
it?
they may be planning. They may have well been planning to do a November one, but there are so many moving parts. I mean, they've got to get Apple's Final Cut Pro team. They've got to have something ready at the time schedule. The PR team has to have time available to manage that. They have to have the campus video access available to them. Then they've got to find a hotel that has the right amount of rooms for classes and everything, and the accommodation.
mm,
So there's a lot of moving parts, and sometimes I guess those parts don't mesh well enough. It's
Well,
disappointing, but.
yeah, but they've done it since 2016 every year. So
Yeah, but every year is fresh. Every year is a new set of circumstances, that a new set of timing.
mm.
Wasn't the
I
wasn't
think
the first one at a different
mm,
time of year?
you're
I'm
right.
almost
The
sure
very first one was
one.
wasn't in Cupertino. It
Yeah,
might have been. Yeah, I think it was in the spring. You're right. It was in the spring, right
and it
around
was in
NAB.
I
LA or
think
San Diego or
yeah.
somewhere else. So I mean, things
Yes,
change.
No, no. Was the first one?
Mm.
I thought
it
the
was.
first one was in this. It was in San Jose.
Maybe it was San Jose. I don't.
It
I
wasn't
Yeah,
Cupertino. I know that
yeah, it
it
wasn't.
was
no,
not
Mm.
Cupertino. But the other thing is, what? There's nothing going on in the spring like NAB, right? There's no
no,
competition
no,
for
nothing at all.
nothing at all
Attention.
that that FMC is involved with, and Apple's not in the spring. So there's no competition between those two events. I mean, I would not go to 2 events on the West Coast within months of each other. It's too much of a hassle. But here, I would have preferred they say we're going to skip a year and come back next November. I don't like it in the spring personally. I just don't like it in the
Well,
spring.
look, this is my guess, and as ever, if I knew I couldn't say. This is just a
Sure,
guess.
I
Yeah.
understand.
Um, but look, maybe the summit is just going to be tied to when a new release of Final Cut is ready. I mean, they've had summits before without a new release of Final Cut, and nobody was happy. People love having a new, summit attendees really do like seeing a new Final Cut released at the summit. Um, so I don't know. Maybe there's something. Maybe they've got stuff planned for the next update. Um, but
Don't
we
get
we
people's
don't
hopes
know.
up.
And look, I don't. I'm not. There's always a lot of noise on social media, and as social media develops and evolves, I care less and less about what anybody has to say on social media. if you're doing a lot of YouTube, then you've got to get ever more clickbaity. And if you're in a niche and there's nothing new to talk about in that niche, then you start talking about how there's nothing to talk about, which is what's happened in the YouTube Final Cuts Pro space recently. And I just don't have any patience for it. I'm not going to bother doing any of that stuff myself. And I'm a grumpy old man. People don't care what I've got to say, so that's fine. But yeah, no, social media is an echo chamber where people like free solutions, and the free version of Resolve is going to get so much more publicity than everything else, and it's it's nonsensical to ask questions like, oh, what's everyone using to edit these days? And it's like, yeah, it's like going to the school and asking people if they like prefer soda or alcohol. It's like, well, they like soda because they're kids. It's like they like free stuff because they're on social media. It's just you're asking a question of a very specific audience and expecting that reflects the wider world. And we just don't know, because most people do not have a voice on social media, because social media is not about who you follow anymore. It's about whatever is popular to the masses, and that's what they show to everyone. If you're on TikTok and Instagram, it doesn't matter what you follow anymore. It's how much, what are you most likely to spend time watching? We're just going to show you a ton more of that. There's a whole lot of research. It's all just chasing what TikTok's done because they think they're going to make more money. And in fact, they're destroying their own platforms by doing it and destroying all our networks in the process. Like the fact that Twitter fell apart. There's our main social network. We're actually talking to peers, gone, and it all dispersed among other networks to the point where it's all kind of distributed. And I think probably a lot of us feel like have a lot fewer people listening to what we have to say now, because those networks are gone. And software does the the amount of updates software gets determines how much people talk about the new features that software gets. And I don't mind Final Cut's slow update pace personally, or slower update pace.
As a
But
writer and
yeah,
publisher, you must love the slow pace.
Yeah,
I do appreciate not having
I,
to
know-
update
I,
all the time. I mean, honestly, a long gap between Final Cut releases makes me a little bit worried. It's like, am I going to have to rewrite everything? I'm already probably going
yeah.
to have to retake half the screenshots in the book because, you know, liquid glass dialogues and menus look different. And it's, great. All those screenshots probably redone sometime next year.
So one of the people that I spoke about at the last Creative Summit during the Q&A was Peter Stenauer, and he left. He's left Apple. He's moving to UK, I think he said. I messaged him because I said something was said at that Q&A that was not accurate, that he's the one that said that there was a 10-year roadmap originally for Final Cut Pro, and it wasn't him, it was Richard Townhill. I did the research and
Yep.
found out. So, and it wasn't a
I
roadmap. They
feel,
said
yeah, there was a plan, there was a foundation for the next 10 years. I think it was just really an off the
foundation.
cuff remark.
Yes.
I think Pete moved to the UK for personal reasons. I don't think it has anything to do with Apple or satisfaction in that position. I just think we had some conversations on Signal, and I think it was entirely for personal reasons.
Well,
Right.
you don't move to the UK for the weather.
Or to Tasmania, or to Tasmania.
Yeah.
But the weather's rubbish, but they're both very pretty.
That's true. In fact, I'm learning the phenomena of sunshine with rain at the same time, because that's a very birdie phenomena. We do
Ve-
that 3 times a day.
Very random bit of information. So in South Africa, when you have a rain shower, so when it's raining and the sun is shining, it's called a monkey's wedding. Now,
Oh, okay.
I assumed that everyone in the world called that a monkey's wedding until I moved to somewhere that wasn't South Africa and said, "Oh, it's a monkey's wedding," and they were, "What are you talking about?" And I've actually done a little bit of very, very vague research about this, and there's different countries. It's called something different, but it seems to not always, but very often be some sort of animals. Like I think in Poland it's a wolf's wedding, and in somewhere else it was a giraffe's wedding. In South Africa it's a monkey's wedding. I've got no idea why. If I was really interested, I'd do some research, but I've got no idea where to start. But there's your random bit of cultural information.
Well, well, I mean, I'm sorry to say that the only way the most recent rainbows I've seen was yesterday morning when I was looking at the tops of the surf waves coming into the beach, and the top of the waves was just feathering off
Yeah.
as they crashed over, and I saw the rainbows that each wave left behind as it crashed, and it was absolutely stunning. And yeah, I'm very happy with some of the shots in 3D, but man, the rainbows off the top of the waves, and
Yeah.
with the whales, so many whales going up the coast of Queensland at the moment.
Is
I look
anybody
forward to
getting an
asking.
iPhone? Anybody getting an iPhone 17 besides me? It's like 17 Pro.
Yeah,
Probably not.
I'll wait and see what it is. I always say that.
yeah.
Normally, I always crack, but I really want to try and hold out.
Someone needs a hand-me-down iPhone. In my family,
Yeah.
someone will need a hand-me-down
Somebody needs to
iPhone.
hand
So,
me down.
so my wife
I
gets my phone, and they
there
get
you
my
go.
wife's phone. That's just how
I
it goes every year.
I
It's
use
great.
two
That's
iPhones
enough people.
with my shoots. So I
Okay.
use two
Okay.
two iPhones and my DJI Action 5, and then I have my Lumix S5 Mark II X for anything bigger that I need to set up with big tripods and stuff. But I always have two. So what I'm doing now is I'm hopscotching. I have a 15 and a 16. So I'll buy the 17 and trade my 15. Look at you. What the heck? What is that? Are you
I've got a few phones in for review,
there you go. There you go.
and that's not all of them, but that's the ones that are within reach.
Yeah.
So most of those are going back. I don't get to keep most of those.
Okay. Okay. Do you have the iPhone 17 there? I didn't catch if you had the 17 yet.
Maybe I do. Who knows? Maybe I showed it to you and you just don't realize.
Well, that's what I was wondering. It was kind of quick.
Who in heaven's name would trust me with something like that? No one. No, they'd only do that once and never again.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. Since they canceled the summit for 2025, do we think we're still going to get a Final Cut Pro maybe feature update outside of the summit this fall? I mean, I guess because the last one was 11.1 back in March. So it'll be 6 months September. So we got September, October, November, at least something. I mean, possibly.
I'd expect something.
Well-
I'd expect something.
Yeah, I'd say probably, but I mean, no
that would-
idea when.
That would be good. That'd be good. Well, the weird thing is when they came out with the cinematic iPhone 3 years ago, and they updated Final Cut Pro right after that to take care of it. Last year they introduced the audio mix on the phone. We still don't have support in Final Cut Pro, but they have it in Photos app. They have it in the Photos app because the information stays with the file. You don't have to do any special exporting because I brought a clip. I did a test and I brought a clip over that was shot with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Brought it onto the Mac, opened it up in Photos, and all the controls are right there. So the information stays with the file, but after almost a year, we still can't access those controls in Final Cut.
Well, look, I hope they're going to introduce full ambisonic audio editing in Final Cut because there is an ambisonic audio track recorded on iPhone videos. If you open up an iPhone 16 Pro or Pro Max, or probably the other ones as well, clip in QuickTime Player and look at the audio tracks, there is a standard stereo track and an Apple Surround audio track. I think it's an ambisonic audio track, and you can decode that with I'm not sure if you do it with Logic or just with Compressor, but you can get more out of it.
Okay.
And none of that stuff is instantly accessible in Final Cut. 5.1 surround editing has been there since 10.0, but not the full thing on top. And to me, I'm sorry, it is endlessly frustrating that we're not all editing in HDR, spatial audio, 3D, because we can't deliver it on the major platforms that most people watch video through. It's ridiculously frustrating. So Apple have absolutely pushed the envelope in terms of HDR, Dolby Vision. Things look so good on the internal screen of a MacBook Pro, on, any higher end iPhone, higher end iPads. The HDR stuff looks great, and people do make
There he is.
because you just shoot it and cut it and deliver it. But
Ian, we only heard
pros
you
won't
got
do
cut
that.
off. Ian, you got cut off. All we heard
I got
they
cut
make.
off.
We just heard, and then they make. Oh, the tension is delicious.
Okay, so yes, they make things in HDR for Instagram Reels, right? People who are amateurs who don't look at any settings will happily leave everything in HDR, and we should be able to deliver spatial audio more easily, but it's not supported in a lot of places where people are watching videos. We should be able to deliver HDR to YouTube and have it reliably work. We should be able to deliver 3D to YouTube. We should be able to view 3D videos on YouTube on a Vision Pro, and we still can't a year after release because the platforms are lazy and they don't want to actually shift the needle just because they don't think there's a lot of people doing it. But if we don't, if the platforms don't support niches when they're moderately sized, even, if they just keep doing the lowest common denominator stuff forever, or they keep insisting they're going to go it alone, like Netflix, who still don't support Apple TV in the same way everyone else does. So if you have an Apple TV box, you can't use the system-wide search to search through Netflix like you can with everything else. You can just
Yeah.
ask your favorite, digital assistant whose name starts with S, whose name I will not mention in case I trigger it. You can ask that on the Apple TV box, and it goes through everything except Netflix because they think they're too big and above everyone. It's just we have these systems, people. We have standards. Can we move them forward?
Yeah, I
To be
could
fair,
never support a family that thinks they're too big and bigger than everyone else, and always thinks they're right and they're very. I could never deal with a company like that. Could you? Anyone else?
At different points, that criticism could be pointed to Apple as well, right?
I think that was his point.
Okay. I thought you meant everybody else. I didn't.
He was being facetious there, I feel.
Okay.
That's an Australian
Okay.
sense of humour.
There you go.
The sarcasm is strong with this one.
I might have relatives in Australia because my dad when he was in the Air Force, he was in Australia for an extended period of time, and he had a girlfriend because I found pictures of her before he married my mom. So I don't know. There might be some relative there somewhere along the lines. Don't know for a fact, but all the different programming on TV. I watch Apple TV for a month, and then I'll get Netflix for a month, and I'll cancel, and then I'll get BritBox TV we're on right now, and this one. And it's with Apple, it's so easy to cancel if you've subscribed through the Apple because you just go on the phone and have all your subscriptions listed. You can cancel in advance, and it won't cut you off at that point. It'll cancel. It just won't renew, and it makes it so easy just to a la carte cancel and resubscribe and cancel and resubscribe. Because I wait for whatever network to get a whole bunch of things that I want to watch. Because Apple TV just went up to $13 a month here in the U.S. from $9.99 to $12.99. I'm not paying that ongoing.
I would love to do this, Richard. That sounds great. But if you have a family and everyone in the family wants to watch a show from here and a show from here, and a show
Sure.
from here, then suddenly you have Netflix and Disney and Apple and Amazon and Paramount, and you would kind of like to cancel a few of those because you don't personally watch them, but
Yeah, that's a little different, but I would still say, okay, for the next 2 months, we're going to get this. After that, you can get your shows and just hopscotch,
Easier said than done.
I'm sure.
my life is worth more than that, I think. So
Yeah.
There you
yeah.
go.
I'm still subscribing to the US versions of a lot of these services too. I was totally shocked staying and visiting with my family that most of my family still watch linear television at night, swapping between channels. So it's like
Wow.
not. Yeah, I know. I was completely
It's
surprised that.
yeah, it's an age thing. There's some
Yeah.
people.
Okay, it is. It is. Yeah, possibly.
Well, like I was watching a cricket match with my son a little while ago, and it was the first time like he's watched some live sport with me, and it was the first time he'd seen commercials, like TV commercials. He's like, where's Skip? Like he was fascinated by like, wait. So back in your day, yeah, I mean, and then
Your
and, and, and,
day.
and then my wife and I had to explain to him like, yeah, when like back in our day, a program would be on at a particular time on a particular day every week, and if you missed it, you'd have to ask people what happened because there was no, like, it just wasn't on again.
Yeah.
Kids these days.
I just almost did a spit take when you said that. I was off camera. I had my mouth drinking and almost when you said about the commercials.
I remember a friend of a friend told me. I don't know if this is true, but a friend of a friend told me that he got like he got a floppy disk, and he showed it to his son, and his 3D print of the save button.
Yeah.
Floppy disks. I remember them. I remember people were so upset with Steve Jobs when he got rid of the floppy disk player in that first iMac.
Yeah.
I remember the first,
Reader.
I remember the first time I installed Windows, whatever version it was like 30 floppy disks, and it was yeah. I remember that.
And if you messed up, you messed up. You had to, I don't know what the heck was, start over again or something. Oh,
5 miles in the snow.
exactly.
When I were a lad, yes, when I were a lad, I had
Luxury.
the 5 1/4-inch floppies, and I remember doing hex editing to cheat in Ultima 4. Yes.
My first computer was a Commodore 64 with a tape drive. And I had to load programs from a cassette. And before that, we had punch cards. And before that, we had an abacus.
Yes.
And before that, we had cave drawings.
Yeah.
I
You had to
didn't
run
get
really fast down the cave to get the animation.
That's right. You had to blink really fast, one or the other. I didn't. My first Mac was a beige G3 desktop. It wasn't even a tower, and it was beige before the iMacs came out because I wanted to edit. I wanted to edit, and it was with Premiere Pro at that time. It was before Final Cut came out. Premiere Pro for the Mac. That's what I got. I still have it down there, but I don't use that anymore. I got to get rid of those things. I don't know what the heck. How long? Yeah, I hate to throw them in the trash. Somebody got to use them. What about you, Lee? Can I send them to you?
Yes. Add them to my library. There are machines in my garage that my wife doesn't know about.
She does now.
Oh.
Somebody should like them. I remember I got that. I was really excited. And I'd never even had a computer prior to that. And that was like the late 90s, 98 maybe. And I just paid ProMax of California to put it all together, install Premiere, make sure it runs. I just want to plug it in and start editing. And of course, it worked pretty much flawlessly. But, back in those days. And now I got a little tiny Mac Mini Pro that's sitting on my right over here to the left, and it's incredibly, incredibly powerful. Absolutely incredibly powerful.
I have a question in terms of how. So again, I was talking to my wife about this today with the Magic Mouse stuff. So I'm still on a 2020 M1 Max Pro. I think that's M1. I don't even remember what the name of it is anymore. Let me just double check. Um, yeah, it's an M1 Max. So it's a MacBook Pro with an M1 Max chip. So this machine is 5.5 years old, and it still does it's just I'm just starting to get some beach balls every now and again, but it is still pretty much doing it. I think Apple almost made, well, from their perspective, like they made these so powerful that I would never have thought that 5.5 years I wouldn't. Obviously, I want a new one, but I don't need a new one yet. It's
Right.
amazing.
Well, I have an M1 Max MacBook Pro too. It's right down here, and I use it for when I travel. But like this year, I didn't go to NAB, and I'm not going to the summit. So next spring, I don't even care about next spring at this point. I don't. NAB's in the spring. I don't care about the spring. It's not as nearly as interesting to me to attend the summit in the spring. We'll see what happens if it happens as scheduled. We'll have to see.
Have they
But
have they
think,
given an
yeah,
extra
look,
month, or have they just said spring?
they said they're going to
Spring.
give us a schedule in December. So we'll have an updated schedule in December. Okay. We'll worry about that when it
yeah.
happens. When it happens.
Yeah.
I
So
think look, maybe that's part of it. Maybe there's new Macs which are going to be coming out. Usually new Macs are late in the year, so October, November, and maybe they wanted to make sure that was all available for the summit as well. I don't know. Look, who knows?
no.
I've got an
Yeah.
M3 Max. M1 wouldn't have been good enough for the 3D stuff I wanted to do.
Okay.
Wouldn't be fast enough for Cyberpunk 2077 on like my third playthrough of that excellent game. Um, and it wouldn't have been fast enough for running AI models locally, like the
Okay.
the open source version of ChatGPT, that open thing, like that. There's a really good version of that which will run really quickly on my Mac, and it's great to have a good local option that you can run because there's some documents you cannot or should not be uploading to an online AI service because they do train on the stuff you upload to them. And so you should not be uploading any personal data or client's personal data to
Yes.
any of those services. But if you want to, organize or collate or summarize data which you've been sent, it makes sense if you can run it on a local LLM, and you don't need to dig into the command line. This is easy. Use LM Studio, and you can just download the ChatGPT model. It's all very straightforward. And as long as you've got enough RAM to run it, which is the strength of getting the max class laptops, because they do have enough RAM to run even the moderately large models. And if you really, really want to go super serious and you want a single machine that isn't obscenely expensive, then just get a max or ultra class Mac and crank up the RAM a bit. If you've got 128 gig of RAM, that's RAM that you can use to run AI models because all the Apple RAM is integrated. The GPU RAM is the VRAM is the regular RAM, and that's what they need. So some of the models, you can only run on a fancy NVIDIA GPU or a fleet of GPUs, each with huge amounts of RAM, and that gets very expensive very fast. And to be able to do it in a laptop, it's like, yeah, get a fancy Mac. It works. It's good.
Absolutely. Well, we'll probably have new Macs this fall. I mean, they do the iPhone in September, and then there'll be something. I don't know if the M1 Max is going to. I mean, the M4 Max Pro. I mean, the Mac Mini Pro is going to be updated to the M5. Who the heck knows? But they have enough Macs to spread around so they can do some updates in this fall, some updates in the spring, or wherever else they want to do them. They don't have to do them all at once. So there'll probably be an Apple event, maybe October, I would think. And at any point they could update Final Cut Pro around that as well. But
And I think with the increased pace of updates, I think there's a general acceptance for it that most people don't need to upgrade their Mac every year
no, absolutely
because it's
not.
a significantly greater expense than a phone. I mean, in
Yes.
Australian dollars, a phone, the top end phone is going to be, maybe around 2,000 Australian dollars, but a top end MacBook Pro, you're looking more like 5 or 6.
Yes.
So it's a significantly greater expense.
Yes.
Obviously, more if you crank up the RAM.
I've spec'd one up to 10 grand.
You must have got the
Yeah.
8 terabyte SSD, because that's like $4,000 by itself.
I didn't buy it. I just spec'd it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's I think it's fine if you have a few-year-old Mac because they do hold their speed, they hold their value if you want to sell them at least better than
Yeah.
the competition does.
Yes.
But
And even
yeah,
Apple.
no, you buy it when you need it.
Even Apple will take them in trade-ins.
Yeah, although I will say that working with high resolution 3D stereo stuff is absolutely where I feel the pain and I need more processing power because I'm doing, when you work in stereo, you're just doubling all the resolution. So I'm
Okay.
working with dual 5K streams at 50 frames a second, which looks amazing, but it does not export in real time if I'm sending it through compressor. And it's more like
Have the-
3 times real time, like
Have
3
the
times
Pro
longer
Apps-
than real
Have
time.
the Pro
which is
Apps team
painful.
forgot about compressor and motion? Because those poor things are like way in the background. They get little minuscule updates, and they didn't even update their numbers and stuff. I mean, they're like the redheaded stepchild, as they say. They're just. I mean, I'm glad Final Cut Pro is the leader of updates, and Logic Pro. Logic Pro gets more updates than Final Cut does. So I'm glad of those. Those are my two favorites. But it seems poor old compressor. I don't know what else they could do with it. I don't know. Who the heck knows?
Yeah.
I think Compressor's one of the best value apps out there.
No, $49 for sure. Same with Motion as well, even though I don't use it that much. It's just, I'm astounded at the Motion keyframe editor. I love that thing. I love that keyframe editor. You can turn different things on and off so it's not all confusing, and you can get in there and do what you want to do. I love that, compared to Final Cuts. I'm not even sure what to call Final Cuts. I say it's like editing on an Etch-a-Sketch, if you don't even know what that is. I don't know if you Australians know what that is or not. It's yeah. It's not really, but I mean, I do like the animation lane in the timeline when you can move multiple keyframes left and right. I really like that a lot. But as far as manipulating keyframes, why does it default to, what is the default when you put a keyframe in the viewer? It's not linear, it's the other one. Ease in and out, whatever. Why does it default to that all the time? Because it makes like a weird S curve when you do a animation. I don't want that. Let me default to what I've set it at. Leave it. If I make linear, leave it at linear, please.
I have a feature. Actually, here's a question, because I've never thought to look for this, and I looked very briefly today and I couldn't find it. But so the thing that I was shooting today was, I think I shot about 56 interviews today, but each of them was only like 3 minutes long. Like basically, it was at a company and they wanted to do a promo, and they got me to shoot every single one of their employees. And I asked them 3 questions, in, out, and that was what I was doing. And because I had breaks between almost each one, I thought, just to be on the safe side, I was taking the memory card out of the camera between each interview, popping it into the computer, copying it on, chucking the Final Cut, doing a quick cut while I was waiting for the next person to come in. But every time I put the memory card in, Final Cut opens up its import window. Is there a way in settings to ask Final Cut to go, you know what, you don't have to, I'll tell you when I want to import?
I
I'm pretty sure
agree.
there isn't,
Command
but
Post. Command Post
you
can
do it
turn
with
that off
Command
for
Post.
you, I believe.
That's the answer.
Okay. Speaking of Command Post, we want to say hi to Chris Hawking. He was invited today, but his schedule just didn't work out. So he's the one that suggested in one of the groups that we do this again, and I said, sure, we'll do it again. But yeah. So that's a good point. Why? For me, sometimes when I plug a hard drive in, it'll pop up. Whenever I plug in different things, it's the same way. If I'll tell you when I want you to pop up, I don't want you to pop up, then have to wait for a minute or two while it goes through and organizes and catalogs things, and then I close it. But I don't use the import window, very rarely. I use,
Very
from
rarely.
my phone,
Yeah.
I use iMazing to import stuff. And I always take it to the Finder level and then drag that folder into Final Cut. I don't want Final Cut. It's especially with iPhone. I don't know what happens, but I will import iPhone footage one day, all imported, go back the next day, it's all offline. And it wasn't on my phone, and it's happened more than once. So if I do it in the Finder first, drag it to the Finder, and then drag it into it, it doesn't happen. But if I import it in my phone, if for some odd reason it's happened more than once to me, so I don't do that anymore. It just disappears.
Yeah, look, like generally, I use the import window all the time. So, like the way and again, everyone's system is different. So whatever works
Sure.
for people. But the way I like to work is, I'll create a folder structure of my project. So let's say we're doing a typical corporate interview. We'll have, let's say we're interviewing Dave and Beth. So there's a folder for Dave, there's a folder for Beth. Inside those folders, there's a camera 1, camera 2, camera 3 if there's a third camera. There's another folder for B-roll, and there's another folder for audio or what have you. And I've got all those folders. And I just like how when you bring it into Final Cut, you can just say, create keywords from folders. And there's my organization as soon as I bring it in. And that's my main reason for using the import window.
But if you use the import window, you mean just leave files in place or something? Because I just do it in the Finder.
So the challenge is, I really have a project that's under a terabyte. So and sometimes I'm working with other editors remotely. So
Sure.
you could use PostLab all the time, but for us, it's just most of the time it's just easier for they've got a copy of the files in the same folder structure that I have, and we just email XML to each other and just keep track of things.
Sure.
But yeah, my way is I generally just like to leave files in place. I don't know why, but that just
I do
works.
too.
Yeah.
I
And yeah, now you're all crazy. Don't do that.
And,
there you go.
yeah, that's lesson learned, Ian.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. You know why that happened? That happened because all of his libraries are too big.
Exactly. No, I've never. I only time I do import into Final Cut library is if it's a small little thing I want to do something quick, and I don't care. I always work. Should we bring him on or leave him off? Oh, he disappeared
Bring
again.
him
What the
back.
heck's going on? No, he came on, then he disappeared again.
It must
So-
be the heat.
Oh, speaking of disappeared again, I was the light.
Absolutely. I got it
Maybe he's
back here over here is a movie that I've done. It's got, I don't know, 10, 12 terabytes of data. There's no way I put that in the Final Cut Pro library. There's no way I'd put that in the Final Cut Pro library. It's definitely organized in the Finder. Like you said, drag and drop folders and, attach keywords to the folders and stuff. He must have got a knock on the door from Apple.
But I think if you are working on smaller projects,
Yes.
I think that's perfectly fine. Like I think anything under 500 gigs, you're probably all right. But I think once you get over 500 gigs, it can get, yeah.
We were talking
That
about
was
you,
the
Ian.
best timed tech glitch of all
It
time.
was.
Excellent.
We
And I saw
were
it all kind of happen. I could see the connection of the video fall off before then. The whole connection died. It was hilarious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm just going to completely continue where I was, if that's okay.
That's fine.
yeah. Well, we were just
Yeah.
saying that probably happened because your libraries are too big.
Yeah, funny. No, personally, look, if I'm not collaborating, I will just drag straight into Final Cut. But I do always drag and drop. I don't like import either. So I'm with you, Richard. I don't like the import window. The reason
Right.
I don't like the import window is when you use the import window, it rewrites the metadata in the files, and I don't want to touch the files. But if you drag and drop, it doesn't. And so it depends on the camera you're using. Sometimes, Final Cut is rewriting the metadata for potentially
Okay.
good reasons. And with some cameras, it does want to rewrite that because it kind of needs to, but it doesn't need to with a Lumix. So I don't. I just drag and drop. And it will keep the folder structure if you do drag and drop as well. So you
Yes.
don't need to use the import window to get your folders as keywords if
Right.
that's important, which it is useful.
Yeah, it absolutely
Um,
is.
and one of the more annoying things about shooting in 360 is that a lot of the time you do have to pre-process the files, which is a downside. And that's actually one reason why with this 360 camera, I'm actually largely not shooting in 360 with it because you don't have to. Like you've got effectively two cameras in one. So, and you've got a button which will let you switch between the front and the back. So, this is actually kind of the best vlogging travel camera because you're either filming what you're looking at or you're filming yourself, but at no point are you actually looking at a screen. You don't take yourself out of
Okay.
actually experience walking around. And I love that. I
Can
love
you
that.
can you save two separate files in front your selfie in the front
No,
as separate files?
no. So you could record in 360 and that would do both at once.
Okay.
But I don't think there's a good way to process that into both at once. And if you shoot in the high quality modes, you can't instantly switch. You have to stop recording and then start on the other side.
Okay.
So it's not the perfect solution. I know you use the dual camera
Right.
thing for doing stuff yourself, Richard, and no, you could
If
keep doing that on a phone. So yeah, look, it's not the perfect solution for everyone, but I'm really digging it. It's
do you
it's
what you said
it's
you
a bit more
pre-process
flexible.
it. What app do you use? Something from DJI?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you shoot in 360, if you shoot 360 video, you need to process it with DJI Studio, which is similar to
Okay.
Insta Studio or Insta 360 Studio, which is with their cameras. They're both quite similar. Um, but if you're shooting 2D video, you don't need to process at all. And in
Okay.
fact, if you only shoot 360 stills on the Osmo 360, they don't need processed either. That all happens in camera. So that's pretty good because what I've historically used a 360 camera for is more 360 stills and less for the video. And that I'll still absolutely shoot 360. Like, don't buy a 360 camera if you never want to shoot 360, but you don't have to shoot 360 all the time. It's actually, yeah, if you want to travel and you don't want to spend your life looking at a phone, yeah, think about one of these. Or I've seen some people traveling with action cameras. That can work, but I think this was like if you have a Vision Pro or other headset, it is absolutely wonderful to take a 360 photo every now and again, even if you're not taking 360 video, but just to completely record the sphere of everything, like a mega panorama around wherever the camera is. And with this, it's 120 megapixels, which is ridiculous. So that is actually a decent amount of detail, even in a Vision Pro.
Now
So
years ago when one of the new iPhones, it must have been the 13, when they showed Filmic Pro filming on two cameras at the same time. Now, since then, there's a couple of apps that do that, but I heard that the 17 Pro is going to do that natively in camera somehow. It's not that complicated. They've been doing it since the 13 or something. So
yeah,
I
there's an
record
API for it.
two separate 4K files, front camera and back camera. And I do that when I'm interviewing somebody. So instead of just a voice of God talking to the person on screen, they can actually see. And I use Ian's plugin, PIP kit, picture-in-picture kit. I love that thing. I use it all the time to make outlines and reduce the size and stuff and adjust my little, I'm a little square inside the bigger square. I use that all the time. So I know you made that. Has it been successful somewhat or not
Yeah,
for you?
yeah. Of my plugins, I think Annotator is still selling more than the other ones. But
Okay.
PipKit still sells, and Spatial Kit. So there's a few sales, but fewer people are wanting to do 3D editing than wanting to do picture-in-picture stuff or to circle things or point arrows at things, which is what Annotator does. So yeah, no, that's good. Um, no, it's good to have a variety of different things happening.
Also,
Absolutely.
But
another great feature of your annotator is the little zoom in window or zoom in square, which I use all the time.
Yes, I put in an update because Lee wanted a specific thing to like do a rectangle, so I made a more flex. I figured out I could make a more flexible rectangle, and so yeah, now
Sure.
you can zoom in any kind of rectangle, and that works really well. I use that as well. That's
Thank you.
yeah, it's good.
So, Philip, how's
Okay.
your animation plugin that you got?
Caption animator.
Caption
Yeah.
Animator with Brett FX. You guys did a great tag team on that, making
Yeah,
animated captions.
Brett did a great job. It's been it sells consistently. I mean, it doesn't set the world on fire, but it certainly sells consistently every week. I see, a little bit of every week. I get a report from Apple about what is sold, and it's like, yep,
Okay,
it's in there consistently. Yeah, not
good, because I
everything
really
that we
like
make
that.
sells every week. So
Right,
Oh,
exactly.
oh, couple of things while I remember. We will see hopefully some exciting new things with Tahoe, because if you look through the all this is all public information, right? I'm not sharing
Okay,
any secret source, but if you
gotcha.
look through the Apple developer stuff from WWDC, there's a video about new video effects coming soon. And so things that will be supported at an API level and presumably will be available in, Final Cut, because there are going to be system APIs for this, is new stuff to simulate motion blur, new stuff for uh, improving video quality, so sharpening things, but uh, being able to add motion blur to a time lapse, which is not something we can do easily in Final Cut without a plugin or using Motion to do that. This is, this isn't the way that Motion does it. Presumably, this is a different way to do it. But if you look up the developer conference videos on new video effects, these are all machine learning enhanced
Hmm.
modules that we will all get to play with soon. And they're all going to be available for free, so presumably someone will just make a plugin if Apple doesn't integrate them into Final Cut
yeah,
itself, which is what I expect to happen. So that's really cool. And there was something else which I was going to say about something else happening exciting, but no, it's gone. So please,
Well,
someone else jump in
here's
and
the
I'll keep
other
thinking.
thing. Last year, before the Creative Summit, Apple did a promo video for Final Cut Pro, which they've
yeah,
never, that I recall, ever have done before. And Bill Davis was part of that process. And so hopefully that the summit's been canceled for 2025, that there is going to be something this fall for Final Cut Pro users. Something. And, why not do it every year? Why not do a promo for Final Cut Pro every year rather than just once every 5 years or
does
whatever
it
the heck
take
it
because
was?
it takes a lot of time?
Yeah, do they like Final Cut? I mean, does Apple? I mean, I know the team does, obviously, but
Yeah,
put some
It's a
time
big
and effort
company.
into it. It is a big company, and I realize that Final Cut is a tiny, tiny little part of that big company. I realize that, but to us, it's very important.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Sorry, you go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I remember what I was going to say. My other thing, I have an Apple Watch complication called Roughly, which a few years ago became significantly less useful when Apple deprecated the way which I was recording the settings. Now, I made this app entirely by hand, manually. Lots of pain. I'm a bad programmer, but it has helped some people whose kids suffer from dyscalculia, because it tells you the time in words. That's the whole idea behind it. And it was just meant to be a bit of fun, but some people do actually use it, and they use it to tell time in different languages.
Hmm.
And that became much harder. If you have a simple idea for an app, think about using an AI to help you make that app real, because AI was able to help me make Roughly work again with the new setting systems in no time at all. And now, when you tap Roughly, this isn't going to work. Um, you can tap this, and it brings you up a little menu with which you can choose the language you want to use and tap it, and it instantly will switch to whatever language it
Hmm.
now has chosen. So we've now got the language choice back in Roughly. It's in beta at the moment, but it will hit the App Store again soon. It's totally free if you want to tell the time in German or Portuguese.
Very cool.
Feel free. Yay! Very nice.
Now,
And then
Lee, are
we'll
you
get
shooting
to
with this?
yeah.
You shooting with the Sony, right? Because you're very, very clear.
Well, no, actually, so actually, what I'm on now is Blackmagic Pocket 6K
Oh, okay. Okay.
that I just had lying around.
Gotcha. I'm shooting on a GH5. I swapped my GH4 out for the GH5 when I got my Lumix S5 Mark IIX. So it's natural blur from the lens. People say, "Can you touch the background?" I said, "Yeah, I can touch it. It's back there." Definitely.
I'll
They
give you
think it's a
natural
backdrop.
blur, Richard. Natural blur. There we go.
Yeah.
It's,
There we go.
yeah, no, well, the Blackmagic's handy just because I'm running this through an ATEM.
Gotcha.
So, and I was able to find a cable for this that I can basically. I've just got an HDMI cable and a power cable for the camera just sitting on my desk all the
Right.
time. So whenever I need to, I just pop the tripod on. You pop the camera. It's a really nice camera. I control it through the ATEM software, and happy days.
I thought you were a Sony guy.
I mean, I've still got the Sony, so I've got an FX6 in there and an A7S3 in there.
Okay.
But today I was shooting with two Lumix 5S2Xs, which
Okay.
I got for shooting stuff for the YouTube channel. Just because I really liked. I mean, of course, now Sony does it. Like Sony now can do it as well. But at the time, the Lumix app for Mac or iPhone or iPad, more so for the Mac. So when I was shooting in cars, particularly, if you can either do it over Wi-Fi, but it's even better if you do it over cable. You can cable multiple Lumix cameras. In fact, Ian helped me with this when I was up in Sunshine Coast. He came up and we hung out and we tested this. So you can control the cameras from the laptop. So that way, obviously, I wasn't doing it while I was driving, but when I was shooting road trip
Right.
videos with my mates, we'd be sitting in the front of the car. I'd be driving, and he'd be sitting there with the laptop out of shot, and he's controlling the three cameras that are looking at us.
Wow.
And he's cutting and zooming in and checking exposure. Because one of the biggest challenges that I found shooting for an entire day while you're driving on a road trip is every time you turn a corner, your exposure changes. And so often you if you're filming yourself, you can put the camera on auto and hope for the best, which in those instances, I would just use a bunch of GoPros. But when I wanted the nice cameras with ND filters and everything, which, oh God, I remember the one day we shot, it was one of those days, like we left at like 4:00 in the morning and we got home at 8:00 at night. And as we're driving back, we're trying to shoot the closing of this video and we couldn't work out why the camera was so dark. And this was when I was still shooting with the Sonys. And we were like we were at ISO of 40,000 and it was still dark. And we're like, okay, something's wrong with the camera. Can't work it out. We give up. We'll shoot this later and we'll just put it in. I'd forgotten that I was shooting with an ultra wide. No, I was shooting with a Sigma ultra wide, and the back of the Sigma ultra wide is you put the ND filter in the back of the lens, and I'd forgotten that I'd left the ND filter in the lens.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Long day.
Well, just on the ATEM and complex settings, Chris has a new app for the ATEM which will record you as you switch between the cameras on the ATEM, and then produce I think it'll produce a Final Cut XML that you can then use to recreate and edit later.
Cool.
So if you have the ATEM ISO, which records all the individual channels from each of the cameras, you can then recreate the edit from those original choices, which is great. Otherwise, you could use a simple camera remote shutter release to record cameras and get it to refocus, which is helpful.
What is that?
When it works.
Well, I'm not looking at where I actually have placed the focus point. So if I go over here, it's going to focus on the wrong bit of the image. But if I put my head here, then there we are. And yeah, so it's a remote shutter release.
Okay.
These are very annoying.
Cool.
It's a Harnell capture. I got this for doing some stereo experiments, but turns out if you trigger two cameras from one of these, so two receivers, one transmitter, it's not frame accurate, which you think it should be, because that's what they were meant for. Like,
Yeah.
ugh, it's no, it's everything's hard. Everything's hard.
All right.
Well,
So,
while we're showing off automation, just really quickly, I automated something. I'm quite proud of myself. I'm being lit at the moment. I've got an Aperture 120D up here on a nice big softbox, so that's my main light. And then I've got a bit of a fill over here, which is an AMRAM C60, and then I've got my hair light as an AMRAM C60 over there. But the two AMRAMs, this is on the 120s on a C stand, but the AMRAMs are on light stands, and it was actually getting really annoying having two light stands set up in my office. And then I was like, hang on, I bought these sort of desk tripody things for my son for when he wanted to do like over the head unboxings for his YouTube channel, and he's not using them anymore. So I just grabbed them and I've sort of connected them. I've got the light on the top of a door here, and I've got that light on a table, but I'm able to control them with the AMRAM with the Sidus app on my computer. So I could do it with my iPad, but I can just turn my hair light and my backlight on and off from the computer. And I just installed the Kara app, which is what these strip lights are behind me on the computer as well. And so I can just turn those on and off just from the computer. Not a big deal. Like I used to do this from my phone or from my iPad, but the fact that I don't have to get off my fat, lazy ass to do it, it's nice.
there you go. There you go. So this guy, Walter the Balter, says, any time code chat, I need help getting time code into Final Cut Pro using these audio files. I thought Final Cut automatically imported the time code if it's in the file. It doesn't exclude it, does it? And with audio files?
Yeah, normally did. I mean, so yeah, I use the I use Tentacle Syncs, and yeah, when I bring those in, I sync it up in the Tentacle Sync app, but then that pushes out a ProRes file with the time code in it, and Final Cut like Ian's showing off as well.
Right. I've never.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Or he's ill.
Just as a consequence of the last Creative Summit, Sync and Link actually now does support the audio time code. And we haven't made an official announcement, we haven't done an official release, but if you need it, it is there.
Oh, there you go. So it's in the file. The time code's in the file.
Yeah.
And
But in Technical Sync though, it's in the audio track.
Yeah.
oh yeah, right. So, but that's what he's talking about? Final Cut does it use the audio track time code? Oh, it doesn't. That's what he's talking about.
You at least with Technical Sync, you've got to use their app first.
Gotcha.
To apply it.
Or just use Sync and Link.
Well, yeah, use Sync and Link, exactly.
Because now, I mean, as officially Sync and Link only supports time code in the track, but if the media is online, we can read it. We can read the audio directly out of the audio time code.
Okay.
That was a request that came up at the last Creative Summit, which is why I like to go to the Creative Summit, because we get to talk to end users.
Well, I knew the last Creative Summit was too good. I knew that they could not duplicate the quality of the last. They set the bar so high that they need 18 months to get back on track again. I mean, it was an incredible Creative Summit. 2023 was good too, coming back after being off in person for a while. But last year's was just through the roof good. I mean, everything about it was just incredible.
Well, me not being there would have made it amazing.
No, I asked you if you were coming early on, but you weren't sure at the time. I missed you. Absolutely.
Walter may have missed the conversation earlier that the Creative Summit in Cupertino has been put back to next spring, not November, when it normally would be.
Yeah.
He's asking where is the Creative Summit.
It makes a big difference whether spring is January or spring is March. It makes a huge difference. Yeah. If they were delaying the summit from November to January, not big deal. Delaying it for me from November all the way to March when NAB is happening is just not I don't think that's a good business decision. I don't know if I'm going to even go in the spring if it's like that. I'm just hopefully it comes back to November or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Got some more comments. I'll be there. You'll be there in the spring. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what's happening and whatever. I mean, I just go to cover it, so we'll see.
I'll just someone mentioned. I think it may have been Walter who said. Someone said that the Sony Plus app that there is an app for controlling the cameras. There is an app that you can do it with Sony, and Sony does do it now. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case when I got the Lumixes.
Right.
Then Sony did it, and I was like, oh, didn't have to get these cameras. But anyway, they're very nice, and I like using them anyway, so it's fine.
Yep. All right, gentlemen. I'm glad we have you on again, and we'll have you on again and again and again, depending on who's available at any given time. Anything you want to say in closing? Philip has his plugins for Final Cut with Lumberjack systems. What else do you have? You have the
Look, caption animator, caption translator, sync and link, producer's best friend, translation tools, of course, 10 to 10, 10 to 7. And some others. Chat FCP.
Picture this.
Picture this. Thank you. Yes. I have to keep. I can't keep up. I can't remember them all.
you just have to search on the App Store,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And
yes.
Ian?
Yeah.
You have a couple.
Yeah, what have I got? I've got a watch app called Roughly. I've got a Vision Pro app called Stereoscope to view mostly historical, but there are some modern stereo images in 3D. I've got Annotator, PipKit, and Spatial Kit on FX Factory, and an update to my book coming soon, which will be free for everybody there, and a new book coming through next year. Yay!
Fantastic.
Other, Otherwise, yeah, look, hey, maybe that should be out by the summit then. Exciting.
There you go.
It's
That's why they delayed the summit for your book.
I don't think so.
And
It's
Lee,
not just about Final Cut.
Lee, your YouTube channel. Tell us about that so people can go watch.
It's called Not a Car Guy. I probably should change the name because it really does have very little to do with cars anymore. And it's, if you're interested in random tech, that's pretty much what I cover now. It's I've done smart home blinds, I've done electric skateboards, I've done electric scooters, I do smart bulbs, I do, for some reason they keep sending me Android phones to review. I'm happy to look at them. So I like pushing buttons. I got sent, wait, check this out. I don't know what these are called. Is this called a dumb phone? I got sent like this is yeah.
I think they call them feature phones.
Feature phone, yeah, it's a feature phone. It's really cool, like $129 Australian. It has a browser, but don't bother. You can text. It's got Snake, so it's got everything you need. So yeah, if you're interested in my view of some of these things, and I try and be creative with some of them. In fact, my next video, well, tomorrow is a digital picture frame / calendar and meal planner. But I was thinking today I need to do a bit of a clickbaity video about a company that is gaslighting a little bit, so that they had a thing that was effectively free, and now they've upgraded it so you have to pay and you get like a bare minimum of some service. I'm like, look, if you have to charge us, fine, tell us you're charging us, but don't tell me it's an upgrade, because
Right.
it's not. Like
Right.
Don't pee on my shoes and tell me it's raining. So sorry. Yeah, if you are interested in a YouTube channel that's supposedly about tech, but a guy gets randomly distracted and talks about random stuff, Not a Car Guy.
All right. I have to go. I got another appointment I got to get to, gentlemen. Lee Herbert, Phil Hodgetts, Ian
Thank you
Anderson.
very much for having us.
Thank you for coming all the way from Australia. We will see you all again. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure. See you soon.